Hi boys and girls, my name is Mrs. Grogan. I'm a reading teacher, and I'm going to be reading Chapter 3 from Shark School. Mahem, 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 mahem. What? Mahem, 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 mahem. What? I wriggle around and look at my friend Tony the tiger shark. I said, "Can you get your tail out of my mouth?" He splutters. Oh, right. I push down on his shoulder. Okay, flip me over. Tony flips me. I fly, twist, crash into Ralph, and bounce into Joe, who pops from one end and burps from the other. Ouch! He yelps. Jellyfish are not good at being squished. We've been trying some more acrosprat moves on the way to school today, and I'm determined that Rick isn't going to get all the attention this time. If I get enough practice in, everyone will be cheering me. Come on then, I shout at the others. But Tony is rubbing his fin, and Ralph is rubbing his head, and neither of them look happy. Give it a rest, Harry, says Ralph. I'm fed up with my head being a landing pad for your acrospratics. Tony, Ralph, and the ever-popping Joe swim on towards school. I follow behind, feeling even worse than I did yesterday. When we get to school, there's a buzzing crowd of kids around the gate. Our teacher, Mrs. Shelby, is there too, which is really weird. Normally, she'd already be in class. Mrs. Shelby bangs a ship's nail on her shell, and all the kids fall silent. We swim up, wafting our fins as quietly as we can. I keep half an eye out for Rick, just in case he somersaults over the crowd, doing 3 perfect fin bombs to land perfectly on my hammer and flubber me. Children, please listen carefully, Mrs. Shelby says. You may have noticed that Rick Reef isn't in the playground this morning. I'm afraid he won't be in school at all today. Yes, I have to try really hard not to swim a celebratory lap of the school field, chucking in a few fin bombs as I go. Then Mrs. Shelby spoke so quietly we could hardly hear her. It's my sad duty to inform you, she whispered, that Rick Reef disappeared last night. Pop, pop, pop. That anxious bottom popping isn't Joe. It's me. I've just popped. Don't tell anyone. Rick left a note with his parents telling them he swum away to join the sea circus, Mrs. Shelby explains. The circus has now moved on to Wreck Reef. Apparently, Rick wants to become an acrosprat. Pearl and Cora, the dolphin twins, look at each other and gasp. But I can reassure you that Rick's mother and father, along with Officer Robert Eel of the Shark Point Police Department, are on their way to pick him up right now, and they will be taking him straight home. Typical. Not only has Rick gotten himself a whole day at the sea circus, he's wrangled himself a day off of school. So not fair. I wish I'd thought of that. The morning classes are full of excited whispering about Rick and how brave he was to swim away from home like that. I'm not excited at all. I'm mad. Rick's managed to be the center of attention all day without even being here. At break time, Tony and Ralph still don't want to practice any moves. All they want to do is play boring old fin ball. How are we going to become acrosprats by doing that? We can't all run away and join the circus. Joe doesn't want to play fin ball. The ball scares him too much. He only wants to talk about Rick. I really hope his parents get to him before he gets trapped in the sea lion taming cage, he says. Huh? Well, those sea lions can be vicious and nasty, but it's not just them that are dangerous. No? No. If he's not careful, he might get knocked unconscious by the crazy clownfish submarine blowing apart when they're rehearsing and be trampled by a rampaging stampede of seahorses scared by the noise. You never know. Joe, I ask, do you really believe all of that could happen? Yes, Harry. The sea is a dangerous place, really dangerous, and the sea circus is at least 3 times as dangerous. Thank you, I tell him, finning him on the back. What are you thanking me for? I've just told you about all the horrible things that could have happened to Rick. I know, I say, and you've really cheered me up. On my way home from school, I let Ralph, Tony, and Joe go on ahead. They're still more interested in finball or being doomy and gloomy about every silly little thing and wondering about Rick. But why would I waste time on Rick when I can be thinking about Mike Hammerhead, Shark Detective? My favorite ever episode was on the last year. In it, Mike was in a strange town a long way from home. He was on the trail of a desperate gang of squidnappers who'd taken the richest squid in the ocean, Krill Gates, the creator of Findo's 10, to a secret hideaway. and they wanted his company to pay them a huge ransom or he'd never be seen again. I imagined I was Mike Hammerhead, slinking in the shadows, sneaking down the deserted streets of an unknown town, staying out of the streetlights, ducking down below windows, turning corners slowly, just sticking a smidge of hammer eye out to look first, not sure who was an enemy and who was a friend, swimming down alleyways, being smart, being mean, being Mike Hammerhead, shark detective. Yeah, I think that's when I got a bit lost. I shake my head clear of my Mike Hammerhead daydream and look around. Uh-oh. I have absolutely no idea where I am. The streets are unfamiliar. I swim ahead a little bit, and that's when I see that I'm at an end of Shark Point known as the Shallows. The water is brighter here because we're near the surface. Hardly any sea creatures come here because it's too close to the leggy air breathers who are always trying to catch us. I really should turn around and go back and try to find home. But, hang on, what's that? Something black is snagged on a rock up ahead. As I swim toward it through the warm water, it catches a glint of sunlight. A zipper! When I reach the rock, I can't believe my eyes. It's Rick's leather jacket. My teeth marks are still on it, and the zipper I ripped out is still missing. There's no way Rick would have left this precious jacket here, not even with the holes. Everyone knows he loves that jacket. My mind races. What does this mean? If Rick really went off to join the sea circus, why would his jacket be here? I don't like the gurgling feelings this is making in my tummy. I'm scared, but I'm even more scared for Rick. When I wrote in my diary that I wished I'd never met him, I didn't mean it. Not really. I'm sure it's been character building knowing him, and every hero needs a nemesis, right? I look around the empty water, unsure of what to do. What would Mike Hammerhead do if he found a clue like this? Even if you don't like the guy, and the guy clearly doesn't like you and flips your flubber every second, you have to save him, Harry. I imagine Mike Hammerhead saying, and he's right. I've no choice. Sometimes justice is left to just us. I pick up the jacket. I can't go back home to Shark Point now. I have to see if Rick is up ahead. I swim on slowly, keeping the jacket hugged close to my chest. After a minute or so, I can hear something. Is it the sound of the waves breaking on the shore? On the mean shore, you have to be sure you're going in the right direction, says imaginary Mike Hammerhead in my hammery head. I realize that the sound isn't waves breaking. It's cheering. Lots of leggy air breathers cheering and applauding and laughing. Should I go on? When the stakes are high, don't get made into shark steaks. Not quite so helpful, imaginary Mike. Up ahead, I see where the cheering is coming from. A huge see-through enclosure is reaching down from the beach into the shallows. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leggy air breathers are sitting around it. Way more than I've ever seen before because I've never been this close to the land before. They all seem to be having a great time. Splash! A dolphin drops into the enclosure and the crowd goes wild. Splash! Splash! Two more slither in and start racing around the edge of the pool. Through the shallow water, I can see them flickering their tails and sending huge sprays of water over the leggy air breathers. Then the three dolphins race up to the surface, explode from the water, do three dolphin-nosed ends and a side flack, and then kersplash! Back into the water. The crowd rises from their chairs, yelling with delight, cheering and stamping their weirdy, feety things. Those dolphins are not that good, I think to myself. That side flack was nowhere near as radical as the one I can do. I bet I could. But before I can think, another disaster strikes from out of nowhere. A huge net scoops me up and lifts me right out of the sea.